The National Human Rights Commission (NHRC) has called for deliberate actions to address the menace of hate speech in the country. Mr. Tony Ojukwu-san, Executive Secretary NHRC, made the call at the maiden edition of the commemoration of the International Day for Countering Hate Speech in Abuja. The News Agency of Nigeria reports that in 2021, the UN General Assemblies adopted Resolution 75/309 on promoting interreligious and intercultural dialogue and tolerance in countering hate speech, to be observed annually on June 18th. Speaking at a stakeholders event to commemorate the day, Ojukwu said hate speech should be checked, especially during election year. He said the Commission acknowledges that UN strategy and plan for action on hate speech, which provides a coordinated action to tackle hate speech at international and national levels.
If you look at the National Security Strategy 2019, it asserts the use of hate speech to distort socio-political, cultural, and economic relationships in Nigeria. It states that hate speech promotes prejudice, undermines social cohesion, and constitutes a threat to national security. As we are aware, the run-up to the general elections in Nigeria is usually characterized by the blatant use of provocative, strong and derogatory hate speeches by political actors and persons who are inclined to their political interests. These speeches have raised strong feelings of resentment, typified by religious and ethnic tribal negative labeling amongst the people. Although hate speeches are not peculiar to Nigeria, it has become a strong tool in the hands of persons with divisive tendencies before, during, and after elections. Their aim is to insult and ridicule perceived opponents of political parties and aspirants, and thereby incite electoral violence, leading to loss of lives and destruction of properties. The frequent use of hate speeches in Nigeria has devastating effects on sustainable peace, national cohesion, dignity of human person, peace and development in our country, Nigeria. It is most unfortunate that this menace has also crept into places of worship, whereupon some religious leaders have also joined the foray of spreading hate speeches. What is more worrisome is the uncontrolled misuse of the media, especially the social media, to spread hate messages in Nigeria. You will recall that in 2015, the National Human Rights Commission, in line with its mandate, collaborated with MacArthur Foundation and civil society groups and called for memoranda in national dailies and received complaints on hate speeches and election-related violence that could disrupt or affect the enjoyment of the right to vote and participate in the 2015 general elections. Having investigated these complaints, we held public hearings across the geopolitical zones to make the point that there has to be accountability for use of hate speeches during elections. Accordingly, addressing the menace of hate speech is a matter of great concern for all of us. This will prevent conflicts and advance peace and progress in our country. Today's event presents yet another opportunity to address the menace of hate speech in Nigeria. The Commission acknowledges the United Nations strategy and plan of action on hate speech, which provides a coordinated action to tackle hate speech at the international and national levels. To this end, we have invited resource persons who will speak on topical issues on hate speech, which will encourage stakeholders to take action to strengthen democratic values, national cohesion, and the promotion and protection of human rights in Nigeria.
Similarly, the UN Resident and Humanitarian Coordinator, represented by Adowa Kufo, Senior Human Rights Advisor in Nigeria, said hate speech, if unchecked, could harm peace and development.
The United Nations considers hate speech as any kind of communication in speech or writing or behavior that attacks or uses pejorative or discriminatory language with reference to a person or to a group on the basis of who they are. In other words, based on their religion, ethnicity, nationality, race, color, descent, gender, and other identity factors. Hate speech, as we've heard this morning from all our previous speakers, contradicts all the values and principles enshrined in the international human rights framework. It also undermines efforts to achieve the aim of the 2030 Agenda and the SDGs to leave no one behind, as it often targets the most vulnerable in our societies and minorities. The devastating effect of hatred is not new. We heard from a previous speaker about the situation in Rwanda previously, in Yugoslavia, among others. However, we are seeing new technologies of communication has amplified the scale and impact of hate speech. Social media and the internet are now the most frequent methods for spreading divisive rhetoric and ideologies on a global scale. If left unchecked, hate speech can harm peace and development, lay the ground for conflicts and tensions, undermine social cohesion, and contribute to wide-scale human rights violations and atrocity crimes. Ladies and gentlemen, the world must not, of course, trample on freedom of speech and expression. But when speech is weaponized to violate the rights of others, it must not be met with deafening silence. Silence amplifies or implies even empathy and even acceptance. We must be vigilant when we notice a rise in hate speech around us. At the UN in Nigeria, we are working with multiple stakeholders to promote tolerance. And for this, UNESCO is leading the way through its efforts to promote media and information literacy. We are also currently developing a UN system-wide hate speech strategy. We count on your support in ensuring the strategy will be translated into effective action. As we celebrate a culture of tolerance today, I urge all of us, including the government institutions, traditional and faith leaders, civil society, young people, individuals, to increase our efforts to counter hate speech in line with international human rights law. And to quote our Secretary General, as our moderator said, Antonio Guterres, hatred is a danger to everyone, and so fighting it must be a job for everyone.
The event was organized by NHRC in collaboration with UN with the theme, Together We Stand Stronger.